Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back, it's Jordan here. The first thing that I wanted to take on today was building a catapult. I've never built a catapult before, but I'm working on that medieval area over there, and I just needed to build one because the soldiers needed a catapult, and this is what I came up with. I think it looks pretty good. It's got like this interesting mechanism at the top there, which will actually hold the ammunition. It uses that like crazy cylinder piece there. And then I capped it off with some tiles and this interesting triangular or pyramid shaped piece there. And then there's some more tiles in the interior. That is held in place by a bracket. The actual bar in the middle there is a 2x6 plate, but I've put some curved slopes and some tiles on it to reinforce the bracket that holds this in place. There's also some more curved slopes on the bottom of it, and that reinforces the Technic brick, which adapts to the fulcrum here. The fulcrum has some inverted arches on the bottom, 1x2 modified bricks with the hole, the Technic bricks on either side. I slid a brown Technic pin through there, and then I attached this to the other side. Now the 1x2 bricks that are actually holding this in place are Technic axle hole bricks, and then we've got regular Technic bricks on this side. So when I turn this, it actually works the mechanism. Now the fulcrum is in a weird spot. It's forward. That's just because I wanted there to be enough space for this to actually go in a launching position. And I also offset the mechanism which launches it on the back here. So you've got two studs up front here, and then there's more studs on the back just to get that proper launching mechanism. I did use some of the like 2x2 modified tiles on the bottom here, the circular ones with the hole, and then you got two plates, and then also these like inverted rounded tiles, and I created some custom wheels for it. You will see that I do have a blue asparagus rubber band, and that's what is going to actually create the launching action of this catapult. I didn't have any spare LEGO rubber bands, so I just grabbed that one from my kitchen upstairs. And as you can see, it's got a pretty authentic motion, and it can launch these cones quite well. Oh, so there we go. I created a custom catapult. It's my first time ever creating a catapult, and I just wanted to build one using the parts that I have from my inventory. I did see that there was some cool ones on Rebrickable, but I didn't have the pieces to do that, so I was just like, you know what? Let's just create something custom that sort of gets the job done and can be a menace on the battlefield for either the Lion Knights or the Black Falcon Knights. And I think there's a lot of sort of clever building techniques that have gone into this to try and make it work, and I'm pretty happy with the end result. One thing I will say though is I didn't add a catch. So there's no like catch that will actually hold this piece down. For example, if I had like another stack of bricks going up here and then like a Technic piece that sort of came over and held that in place so it could actually be loaded up before the launch, that would be nice, but I'm pretty happy with the end result. The aesthetic is there. And if I remove that rubber band, then of course I could have it downward like that. So you can just launch your ammunition, whatever that may be, by hand. We could stick some leaves in there if we so choose. And then we could just launch it like that. So you can either do it by hand or you can elasticize it. And it could just become my new fidget toy. I could just do this all day. It's got a pretty authentic catapult-like motion. The back end sort of kicks up. What I could do is actually put some bricks down and actually tack it down in place when it's on the battlefield. So then when you use it, it doesn't kick up like that. So the soldiers could maybe change out the wheels for something that actually tacks it down to the ground. And this catapult belongs to the Black Falcon Knights. They're on their way out of their castle. And one of their horses is actually towing the catapult. Forward march toward the king's castle. Well, there we go. I wanted to build a catapult using Lego bricks. Mission accomplished. Now I need to figure out what else I want to do in this area. I probably should build another catapult, but I don't have adequate pieces to build another one exactly like that. So maybe I need to build a different one that belongs to a different faction, such as the Lion Knights.
So I've decided that I'm going to move on from catapult building and go to landscaping. So I'm actually going to be modifying these plates right back here. There's one 32 by 32 base plate and one 16 by 32 base plate. And those actually go right up against the king's castle. So my plan is to actually add a little bit of elevation to these plates. Sure, we have the elevated castle plate, like the one with the cliff edge, but this one sits right beside that, and I'm thinking maybe we can create some sort of grassy hill. And the reason that I wanted to create this is because it will act as a backdrop. So I'm actually going to use 4 of those tiny little IKEA boxes, which are 6 bricks tall. I'm going to build the green mills plate right up against them, and that's going to give me a nice solid foundation and save me a ton of parts, because I don't want to use like brick to do that, because I only have 4x4 green plate, and that's what I'm going to top it with. So the next thing I'm going to do is create just like a staircase effect using 2x4 green brick, and I'm going to support that using some colorful 2x4 brick, colorful 2x2 brick as well. And I'm just going to like taper it a little bit so it gets wider toward the mountain, and I'm going to take some of those green plates off just because green plates are more valuable than black. I would rather use like red or blue or something that I don't use very often, but black will do the trick as well. So just going to continue adding more of those bricks, the multicolored ones, and also the 2x green brick to create the base structure for my hill. Comes together quite quickly. It does consume a ton of bricks. Luckily, I found these green 2x4 bricks on the pad wall the other day. Definitely a good find. The next thing I need to do is grab a bunch of 4x4 green plate, essentially all the ones that we removed from that mill's plate originally, and top the IKEA boxes. And luckily for me, that actually matches up perfectly with the staircase effect. Staircase effect, it looks alright, but doesn't really look that natural. So I'm going to grab a whack of 1x2 green slopes, and I'm going to absolutely cover this thing with slopes. Now I'm only going to do the section on the far left there because I need some sort of trail that's going to lead up to the structures that are going to sit on top of this new plate. I think it's time to test fit this bad boy and put it back in the medieval scene. So you can see it just goes right up against that cliff face there, and also right up against the creek, and it's just going to give us a little bit of elevation at the back there. So it's looking pretty cool. I'm sort of digging that. However, there is a section on the side here where we've got an exposed IKEA box, so I'm going to have to work on blending that in as well. Just like that. Looks a little bit better than that exposed IKEA box, that's for sure. The slopes truly do make it look a lot better. There is this one section over here that still needs to be blended in as well, and that is right by the cliff face. So that'll be the next thing that I've got to work on, because that doesn't really look natural at all. Like, look at that. Not good at all. So my plan is to remove all of those slopes and then fill it in with some green plate and brick, just like that. So it blends together quite nicely. I did lose some of the rectangular rock panels in there, but it is what it is. They were the old gray ones anyway. Didn't feel like ripping it all apart. So now this area is looking pretty good. I love that elevation, and it's time to place some structures on top. So first, I'm going to put Magisto's Tower on there. That's one of the oldest sets in my collection. I know it doesn't really look that good, but I sort of dig it just because of its age. And I'm also going to take that new Wizard's Tower that I built the other day and pop it on top as well. I think that's going to add a lot of elevation to it, even though it's already one of the tallest structures here. I just wanted it to be on top of the hill, and I also wanted to add it to the back of this diorama because once again, it's going to add more height and sort of depth.
So after I took care of those changes, I decided to work on some of the surrounding details, such as the trail that's built with the 1x1 circular tiles, quarter round tiles, and also the 1x1 tan studs. It was no longer connecting to the tower, so I decided to make those changes. Now it hangs a hard right here and goes up that hill. I decided to base the upward trail on some brown bricks just because that made a little bit more sense. And then I completed the slope work on either side of that trail. So that's looking pretty well blended in. But yeah, I really like Magisto's Tower up here. And as you can see, the trail connects to that as well. And then it connects to the new Wizard's Tower as well. So there we go. That sort of makes sense. One thing I need to do is go around and add even more details, such as the leaf elements and different flora all over these slopes and all over the surrounding area. But I just haven't got around to that yet, just because placing all those little tiny pieces takes a long time, and you got to be like 100% confident in what you want to do before you do that, because reverting the changes can take a little bit of time. I'm not sure if I want to keep this in here or not. It's sort of like nostalgic to me. I don't really want to like break it down and use the parts to create a bigger version of it, just because it's like one of the oldest, most nostalgic sets in this room. So I definitely want to keep it in its original form, and I think it looks cool here in the medieval area. So yeah, that trail's reconnected and all the slopes are placed on the hill. And then over here, I took care of this blending work as well. So there was no slopes on these cliff edges, so I went through and added all of those. And I also connected that trail. Still got to figure out what I'm going to do up here and figure out how I'm going to blend that castle. It's probably going to be the next task, but I just wanted to add some height to this model because I think that looks pretty cool. We did have the tower right here at the beginning, but I like that. And I also had to switch up the staircase direction as well. It was facing the other way, so I had to switch up the masonry wall and move the stairs and redo the studs that actually attach the tower to the base. So I took care of that as well. And then we've got the Magisto's workshop over here. I'm not sure if that's going to stay there or not. As you can see, things have been moving around quite a bit in this little diorama. That's a pretty tight space, and I want to do a lot of things. Included in that is add a battle eventually, so I'm going to have to get some more knights. Maybe not Black Balkan knights, because they have a catapult and an army ready to go, but for sure some lion knights, taking them on. So that's one thing I want to do in the future as well. But we got the catapult built, we got the elevated plate built, those two sets, well, one mock, one set, nicely integrated there. The trails leading up to them, this is all done as well. I took care of the kids today for about 7 hours and managed to get all that done, so I think it was a pretty successful day. Also, I had to like reinstall Windows on my computer because I've been having some computer complications, but luckily the reinstall actually took care of those. So yeah, I've had sort of like a weird day. I wanted to get more done, but unfortunately, not unfortunately, in regards to hanging out with my kids, unfortunately, the computer issues sort of set me back a little bit, and then I had some family time as well. So it's been a good day of building medieval stuff, building a wicked catapult, and sort of hanging out with the kids. Hey everybody, thank you so much for coming on by. I hope you enjoyed this medieval update. I can't wait to finish this. I'm not sure what the next thing I'm going to work on is. Could be something in the Lego city, it could be blending in this castle, it could be something outside of this castle, or it could be just working on the landscape over here. Who could know? Or it could be building a different set or anything Lego related. Please remember to like this video, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff coming out in the very near future. And most importantly, have yourselves a fantastic day. Farewell.